We just got our load from Menards. We're going to be encasing the ducts in the kitchen and the guest bedroom. Drywall's on the bottom. We had our new furnace, our new heating system installed the day after Easter, and they finished it 2.5 weeks later. This is our guest bedroom, and since before we had the hot water boiler system, the new heating has these ducts. And the way it had to be connected to what we have down in the kitchen. So that's why it's configured the way it is, the way they installed it. Now we're going to measure to put in a surrounding wall and drywall around this. Hopefully today. When the guys installed the ductwork, they didn't bother to remove the baseboard. Sean's got the laser level marked so we know where to cut the baseboard off.
That's what's on here too. Okay, I think that's good enough for measuring. These.
Yeah, we got our first wall in right there. And it turned out wonderfully. We've got the short east wall done and this one done.
it in my hand.
Thank you.
Sean pre-drilled the holes. Now he's, I'm not going to say toenailing, but toe screwing 2x4 inch.
This one's not that important because they've got it screwed into the side.
It's already supported.
Yeah, this one with the screws in there.
We have to use these toggles for the wood on the back. There's no stud where we need to put this 2x4. This is just a demonstration 2x4. We're going to be using these toggles. What Sean does is he pre-drills a hole with a small bit through here into the wall, so he knows where to drill a bigger hole for the toggles. Now he's drilling them bigger so that these bolts will fit through. Now he's making the pilot holes bigger. So we can get the toggles through the hole. So that's why that hole had to be so much bigger, is to get the end of the toggle in. Then you push down the collar. And then you break it off. And there's your toggle. Now that the toggle's there, that's what the bolt goes into. And see the head on the bolt, it's so much bigger. That's why Sean had to do a bigger hole so that the head would fit.
Fiberglass, it doesn't look like wool.
Yeah, it's mineral wool insulation. It's not fiberglass. And it's got exceptional fire resistance. We figured that was the best choice to insulate around the ducts. Insulated and drywalled. Looks fantastic. I've got the guest bedroom drywall taped and mudded. That's the second coat. I'll go through and sand, and then I'll paint. I've got a base coat of paint on the wall. That's just to cover all of the mudding that I did. I also edged across the top, so now I can just take a big roller in. But what I'm going to do is take that white paint from here along the side and to this wall. And then I'm going to go this way just to this edge. So I'm going to put painter's tape here and then painter's tape along this wall. I've got some redundant boxes here that we don't need access to anymore. One's for cable, we stream, and the other one's for, I think, a telephone or the intercom system, which we don't use either. I'm gonna make a framework first with this mesh drywall tape because it's got some adhesive on the back. I'm going to run this one horizontal, and I'm going to do a number of rows
and that's going to make a nice framework. And I've got this paper tape that I will place vertically, and then I'll drywall mud over it. I have the mesh tape in place. This mesh tape is put on a dry wall. There's no mud. When you use paper tape, you have to put mud on first and then embed the paper tape in the wet mud. I'm putting a thin coat of mud, not much, here for the paper tape to adhere to. I've got the wall coated in strips. I've covered the mesh. I tore a whole bunch of strips, and I'm just going to start embedding them into the drywall mud. Then I cover the dry paper with a little bit of mud. Put the next one on. Put a little mud on there so that the next piece of tape will adhere. Overlapping ever so slightly. I'll put one more there and then I'll smooth it out. That's the first coat applied. It goes on this dark gray color. When it's dry, it turns white. Now I'll wait a good 1 to 2 hours. I'll lightly sand it after it's dry. I'll put a second skim coat on to smooth it out and taper out the edges. Let that dry, then I can paint over it. I've got everything taped all around here, along the bottom, along this baseboard, up the door frame, up to the ceiling. I tried putting tape on the ceiling, but this texture is basically raw drywall mud that's not been painted over. So if you wanted to smooth it out and not have a textured ceiling, I guess that's why they don't paint it. When I sanded along here, the painter's tape wouldn't adhere to the ceiling. So I have to be very careful about my edge up there. When we work on the baseboards for the rest of the house, we'll replace the baseboards here, along here, and back here as well. So there's no rush to do that. But that turned out real good. There was a lot of mathing going on to get that configured.
Sorry, I missed that video.
I don't know if you can see, But this duct is out this way. And this duct is only out just a little bit. There was a lot of mathing going on to figure out how we were going to drywall this and how we were going to consider our angles. And this side kicks out this way and then comes down this way. This is the back side of those ducts. When Sean measured here, we put a 1/2-inch gap so the drywall that we put in is going to marry up with this. This used to be open railing. It's being enclosed. This will have to be moved over here. We've got this insulated and we've started drywalling. Drywall is complete. Excuse me while I hobble. I just got my 8th cast on today. I've got my mud and tape and paint all ready to go to start on this section. And I'll work on this wall as well when I work on this one.